All right. Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday for everybody tuning in. All 30 of you already. Amazing. It feels like a bullish Monday morning, November the 22nd, and we are pumped to be here. I am joined with me by the man, the myth, the snail, free market capitalist.
Hey now.
And I am, as always, Mr. R2 Degen. I am
Cool.
yes, I am. You know what? We're shedding the Clout Cobain moniker. Obviously, there's a large crypto Twitter influencer that has 500,000 followers, and I'm sure you've all heard of him. Um,
Kobe.
yeah, Kobe, Crypto Cobain gave me a cease and desist order on the name. Surprisingly, it wasn't Courtney Love, but no, he actually didn't. But honestly, like this was a Clout Cobain was a moniker that I came up with back in the BitClout days. Before I was even really on crypto Twitter, it was actually just I saw Cobain in the clout goggles and just kind of dropped that one. There was a lot of confusion that I had to stave off for a little bit, and I always just kept the name. But now moving into NFT Twitter and in this space, I don't think it's fair to confuse people in that regard. There are times where I will jump into a Discord and people actually do think that I am Kobe, and I don't want to ever use somebody's name to my advantage. So we kind of NVO came up with a Twitter handle of a Web3PO, which I thought was fucking hilarious. And so I brought R2DGen into the mix. And yeah, I'm going to roll with that for now. I'm going to leave the Clout Cobain in parentheses for a bit. But yeah, I don't know. What do you think of the name?
I think it's good that two of the Star Wolves members have taken Star Wars names so that George Lucas really gets that legal pen out when
He's
no, I love it.
he did
I think
sell.
R2
You know that, right?
Yes, I think R2D is brilliant. I can't believe nobody had that name, and I'm so glad my little robot buddy has come into his new persona now.
Yeah,
So
honestly, I typed the name into Twitter to search for it, and yeah, it was available, and I scooped that up immediately. And just for reference, I did grab on a burner account the old name that I had, BitClout Cobain, just so that nobody scoops that up and tries to run a scam with it. I would hate to see that happen to anybody, but yeah, I'm excited for the new handle and the new branding going forward. So you're gonna have to get used to calling me something other than Dirk Diggler or Cobain, but
I don't know if that's possible, but yeah, I guess I'll get used to it. So, are you debuting this name right now?
yeah, let's fucking do it. I'm good with that. We'll do something on Twitter after. Not that it's a big deal. It's not like I have a gigantic following that needs to be addressed. But yeah, going forward, R2 Dgen. That's the one we're going with. So
Cool.
um,
R2 DJ R2. All right,
yeah,
R2.
thanks. Yeah, I don't know actually. Maybe Dgen works better.
All right, DJ. I don't know. Cobain, it rolls off the tongue. It'll be some adjusting for me, but we'll get used to it.
It's all good. Um, Wanted to just quickly touch on like the AlphaMint realm real quickly. We dropped the second wave of MoonLounge passes to some surprise, not surprising. I shouldn't say surprising. Some fanfare though. Honestly, like they started rolling. We had some people in the general worried about gas wars over it. I don't think we're quite at that level though. It is very flattering to even have that discussion. But yeah, we have probably a good 15, 20 new members and sold a total of 30 passes yesterday. That some people loading them up. Honestly, we haven't announced any big utility for having multiple ones, but if it's a bet on the community, I think it's a great bet, honestly.
Yeah, that's pretty great. I mean, you've seen other communities with passes like this become very valuable. And I think that this community is well on its way. Really, really great showing over the last few days. And man, the alpha that's been dropped in the room,
Oh
mind
boy.
blowing. I mean, everyone's coming at the right time. That's not even. Woof.
Well, the market is rebounding, and one of our strong suits, minting, which is kind of where the AlphaMint moniker came from, is doing really well. But anybody that's listening, thinking about joining in, there's been some huge wins over the last 3 months that I've been here. Some massive wins just over the weekend. But I also just kind of wanted to really quickly, before we get too deep into the show, just highlight that we are a community first Discord. We want people that are joining in the MoonLounge, having the conversation, learning together, helping newer people that are in it. There's tons of opportunity to make lots of ETH and some huge wins in there. But really, first and foremost, this is about kind of banding together, not being a calls or a pump and dump group, and just having a lot of fun while we're doing great things. So to everyone that's joined, they have all kind of fit that role so far. I thank you so much for that. I know it means a lot to us, and it makes our lives easy as we try and grow this community. And for anybody on the fence about joining, I just want to kind of give you the full disclosure that that's kind of what we're aiming to do. So appreciate it. Love seeing new faces in here. Tons of new faces in the audience, which is great for us too. So yeah, if there's anything you want to touch on and on top of that, free market, before we get into the show.
No, that's great. I'm looking forward to speaking to everyone. We have an AMA session every day after we do our back and forth, so we hope to hear some new voices today.
Yeah, for sure. And actually, on that note, we do record all of the shows on YouTube. There's a video component, and we do upload the audio version of it on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. So if you aren't able to tune in one day, if you're late or have to leave in the middle of a show, they will all be there for you. A lot of people have actually found it just through the podcast or search algorithms, which is amazing too. So very excited to see that. But on that note, we will get to the news of the weekend, I guess, and we'll go from there. So just pulling up CoinGecko right now again. Bitcoin and Ethereum kind of just playing ball in that $57,000-$58,000 range, and the $4,100 to $4,400 range for Ethereum. Nothing too crazy going on. Looking at the 7-day GALA, I don't even know the ins and outs of GALA, but on a huge run over the last week, 300%. And then we look at some of the NFT and Metaverse plays like Sandbox, Decentraland, and Avalanche doing really well over that time period too. But yeah, nothing crazy to report. A lot of data coming out that the supply is being removed from crypto exchanges in terms of Ethereum and Bitcoin. So yeah, as we look towards the coming weeks, there could be some fireworks maybe.
It feels like the meme coins are at least taking a back seat right now to, the actual plays with substance. I love seeing Mana and Sand rallying, because these are what I consider really good long-term plays. So I don't know if the meme coins are just cooling off and consolidating, getting ready for a next leg, but they seem to have been put to bed here for a bit, and that's both the dog coins and the NFT meme coins that were really hot there for a minute, and it seems that money is rotating back into NFTs in a big way.
Yeah, big way. Speaking of money in a big way, just really quickly wanted to go back to the Constitution DAO at Sotheby's that happened last week, but pretty funny that it came out that it was Citadel CEO Kenneth Griffin of the GameStop villainry that ended up outbidding the DAO, purchasing it for $41 million, and I've heard reports that he ended up outbidding the DAO by $1 on a $41 million bid to snipe it for them, and it kind of just raises some interesting viewpoints. One, Kenneth Griffin is really laying into the villain of the every people right now, and the storyline that he's creating, especially by buying the Constitution DAO, is almost going to pump its bags in and of itself. The other thing too is Constitution DAO publicly raised money, and they let everybody know what they were coming into the bid and what the game plan was, and it kind of worked against them.
This didn't seem to be a very sophisticated team of negotiators. They were not quiet, as you said, about what they were intending to do with the bid. And I think that this kind of shows, while there's a lot of money right now in crypto, and especially the idea of DAOs, they were scrambling to raise enough up until the last minute. Whereas the CEO of Citadel reached in between his couch cushions, grabbed $45 million, and bought the Constitution from under them. So, like I said, I love the energy behind it. I was supporting them. I was very happy when I thought they won, because, as we said, there was a lot of misreporting during the time, not knowing what was going on. But yeah, it's still there's still minor league players in a major league world.
It does it does highlight the crypto world's ability to kind of crowdsource a pretty incredible amount of money in a very short period of time. I mean, it was like 48 hours before the Sotheby's auction that somebody decided to put this together, and yeah, in the blink of an eye, they had raised over $40 million to try and scoop this up. Obviously, the ending wasn't as how we predicted, but obviously this is a concept that's not going anywhere. DAOs are a concept that seem to be picking up a lot of steam, and I have to believe that this isn't the first or last time that the last time that we're going to see this.
Yeah, I do believe this is the future, and even though this one failed in what was an interesting and entertaining fashion, I expect to see a lot more of this, and I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, and it's going to be interesting to see as they start to refund the I guess donations, as they were called, to the people that participated in the DAO, how that works, and how they compensate for a lot of gas. These were pretty small transactions. I think the average donation was $200 towards a DAO. When you start factoring in the gas transfers to and now from, that could get to pretty pricey. So I wouldn't be surprised if they end up kind of voting to keep the money in that DAO and doing something else with it.
Makes Kickstarter look kind of silly. What's the fastest they've ever raised? $45 million.
Very true, very true. Shifting full on into the NFT space, you're going to pull up WGMI and just look quickly at what's going on in the 7-day and the 1-day changes. Wolfgame Wolves is up there on the 1-day change. That doesn't even have a 7-day change reporting on it, but Doge Pound, Winter Bears, Geometry Runners, Head DAO had a pretty good 1-day. Nothing too crazy on this list, however. 7-day, Women in Weapons still leading the charge there. They are down a little bit since we last discussed them, but yeah, still having a good week. That'll probably drop off in the next day or two as the 7-day kind of crosses the Gary V discussion. Ether Orcs having a nice little pump on the back of Wolfgame, though. I think that's going to be something we're going to go into a bit more detail in later on in the show. Doodles is having a nice little bounce on the 7-day up to 2.58. It is down from almost 3 yesterday. And as you said, though, these are floor prices. These are something that aren't necessarily a good indicator of immediate trends, but yeah, they're definitely, everything is experiencing a pretty good pump as liquidity starts to enter the NFT marketplace, and people want to park their ETH into the JPEGs.
I think that even if the pumps feel a little short-lived right now, and remember, as investors become educated and more sophisticated, you're not going to have the exact same atmosphere as we did the last cycle. So the pumps feel like they're a little quicker this time around. Things tend to fade a little sooner and a little faster. But man, mints are minting out. Everything seems to have a post-mint pump above its mint price. Quite a few projects that minted during the bear, as a great example, Chain Runners, man. I mean, this is a phenom. It was during the bear, a bunch of us were on the whitelist for that one. I remember logging onto the site. I was about to mint my 2, and then I was like, everyone feels that way. It's like, why am I minting anything during the bear? Everything's failing. And fail did they? They fell, I believe, at one point all the way down to 0.01, and that floor is sitting close to 1 ETH. As of this morning.
You might be surprised to know this, but pulling up Chain Runners on OpenSea, it is sitting at a 1.68 floor.
That's pretty crazy. I mean, the Zeneca, I believe, aped in pretty hard. This is a game. They don't have gameplay yet, from what I understand. They were just selling the pieces, and the game is a ways out. But they must have impressed the right people, because that thing is now 168x off the bottom from where it was. Shout out to Dirty Milk, who I think was the only AM member who believed in the project, minted, and stuck with it and held with it.
Yeah,
So
that is
that was pretty amazing.
an astronomical run over the last couple days. And honestly, like I had it pulled up just in the tabs that to talk about really quickly, but I didn't even, I just loaded it and I didn't even pull it up. I was even shocked to see that 1.6 floor, and the volume on it has just been absurd for the past 2 days. So huge win to anybody in chain runners. Kind of regret not minting it myself, but obviously hindsight's 2020, and there are going to be an abundance more wins over the next, oh god, I gotta believe years, but like for the time being, there's lots coming up to play, and even just in the last
I would just
weekend.
like it to
Yeah,
last one more week until CloneX mints.
yeah, you say that
Just
as though
one more
CloneX
week.
is going to mint in the next week. There is no guarantees of that anymore. Not even going to put a date on this show regarding that. It happens when
Oh
it
man.
happens. So, yeah, really quickly, another project that a lot of AM holders have been involved in for the past, I guess, almost 2 months now, is the Galactic Apes. Galactic Apes, the little monkeys, finally did join the metaverse, and all Galactic Apes holders get to mint one free one for holding. They have not revealed yet. There has been a little bit of action on the secondary, but they look pretty cool. Wes is somebody that um, either you love him or hate him. There are strong opinions both sides of it in terms of being a marketer or a businessman. Maybe not the best intuition all the time, but in terms of being an artist, like he is top tier in the pixel world. And so, you know, the Galactic Apes had the three genus monkeys, so the chimpanzees, the gorillas, and the orangutans. And he did some incredible work making all of the traits fit on them. The monkeys have taken it a step further, and there are 9 different sizes of these. So there's going to be an incredible variation. I think the art looks really cool, and it's going to be really interesting to see what comes of that over the next couple days as they reveal. Looking on OpenSea right now, there has been some volume on them. Last I checked, is the floor is at 0.175 pre-reveal. So, what's your take on these? Where do you think they go after they reveal? What do you personally think of them? I don't think that you hold any Galactic Apes. Am I right?
No, I don't. This project seems to be. It's one of those things where I think it's become a cult, and I say that in a good way,
Yeah,
right?
you
I
have a
think
strong
that
cult thesis investment
right.
thesis.
I mean, I had a bit of a back and forth with DC Investor over the weekend on Twitter about investing in cults and culture. And maybe to him, the more accurate term is culture, because I think that the culture aspect of these is very important. And there's a cult with Galactic Apes. People love Wes, but then at the same time, I think that a large mutiny has grown from within the ranks, basically because of delays. This floor went from 0.08 to what, 2.6 at its peak?
Yeah,
And
2.8. It was real close to hitting that 3 ETH floor.
and I think a lot of people were like, all right, it'll pull back to 1.5, it'll blah blah blah, and it dipped a lot harder. And where's the roadmap? What is Wes doing, et cetera, et cetera?
Into the
Do
bear
I
market
think
too, though. Important to
into
note
right?
that.
That's my point. Do I think these are legitimate concerns? No. I mean, do I think Wes is working? Yes. And, these monkeys are going to be integral to the game. If you believe in the game, and look, one thing we could say after this weekend is that the NFT gaming trend is firmly here, and it
Yeah.
is here with a bang. Us orc weirdos have been saying this was going to be the next phase for a while, but as orcs petered out into the bear, it kind of looked like, well, it's cool, but maybe they're a little early on their concept. Well, the wolf game over the weekend has now spurred 10 derivatives, copycats, that are going to be launching within the next week. And I think that the gaming trend has, presented itself as the next phase in this market. So
So as we wrap up the Galactic Apes discussion, it is important to know that there is a game coming to the Galactic Ape world eventually. The roadmap is a little shaky on that, and it's not a play that I'm like holding on for dear life for this game to start or anything. But I've taken my position in Galactic Apes, and it's a long term one. So be interesting to watch the whole timeline play out, kind of just in a zoomed out kind of way. But yeah, great segue into the games. And you mentioned Wolf Game. Now that has been absolutely ludicrous this weekend. It minted on Friday. Was it Kiwi dropped that alpha in the channel, if I'm correct?
Yeah, that was Kiwi Alpha that he dropped in the Kiwi Alpha channel, which no longer exists. They've now been consolidated in a way to streamline signal and reduce noise into a channel we call Curated Alpha, in which certain members who are experts in their field will drop Curated Alpha and can discuss it with each other, but the room is locked to other comments.
So
This was dropped.
we talked a
Yeah, go
little bit
ahead.
about Wolf Game on Friday, but not overly in depth. The immediate consensus was that this was a beanie pump. There wasn't going to be a lot of traction on it, and the supply, which was originally going to be 50,000, it was a 10,000 mint drop, and then you started minting after that was finished with the wool, which was the token that was you were getting from being staked. And then there were some issues with the contract where people found out a way to exploit it. So there's either wolves or sheep, and when you roll it using the wool, you either got a wolf or a sheep, right? Well, some people realized that you could cancel the minting process if the roll ended up being sheep and get kind of a refund on it, and they would just keep rolling until they got wolves. It was flooding the market with wolves. They took the minting process down and have since capped the minting at I think about 13,000 now, which is a big difference and a big deal. Initially, when I saw it, I didn't really want to partake in it. One beanie, but I think I'm gonna have to change my thesis on him now too, and as well the 50,000 supply seemed like very high as that game were to play out, and the minting sort of ramped up in that regard. So it wasn't something that I thought was going to appeal to me, and boy was I wrong. So you want to take it
Yeah,
from there?
this is a very, there's nothing innovative about this game. And I'm not even saying that as a knock. Like, I love all these games. I think that they should copy each other with different IP and give us different characters. And I think a lot of us are going to play them every time because they're fun and they look cool. The other side is that this was a pure influencer pump. And I'm not even saying that in a negative way. Usually a project will have one influencer, maybe two latch on, and that gives it a really good pump and, makes it a great trade. This had every major influencer in the game, and then all the second not even second tier, but I saw so many punks and apes on my timeline that were playing this thing that probably knew about it, wink wink, before most people did. uh this was a pure absolute influencer phenomenon that, I mean, it's still sitting at a 4 ETH floor now, but it got up to 8 ETH on the sheep
Yeah, 80th floor
yesterday.
on the sheep from a 0.069420 mint.
And in 3 days. I mean, that's where it really gets insane. I mean, there are some members of our group that leaned in really hard and diamond handed that shit. Well, you were kind of forced to because your sheep are staked, but a lot of people were able to turn 1E into 100E over the weekend, and wool is still making you over $2,000 a day per sheep, if I'm not mistaken, right now. So this is what all these other games wanted to be. At their base, they basically are rolling games, probability games. You level up your guys, or you mint other characters, and you use the in-game currency. So your initial players, wolves in this case, or sheep, are earning wool, and that wool is then burned to do different things within the game, thus making the currency ideally deflationary while at the same time providing it as utility within the game. Normally, an LP or a liquidity pool shows up within a few days or a couple weeks after these games are there, and many players choose to sit there and just sell the underlying currency as the positive EV play instead of participating in the game, which is a great angle for these things. I mean, this is some sort of fixed income at the moment, and just like those OHM yields, they're probably not going to last forever, but you got to figure out how to, take advantage of these while they're hot. And Wolf Game seems to be the hottest of them all. And I think what's very interesting here too is, crypto people are very smart. The one negative aspect of this, I think, that kind of bothered me all weekend was that the main influencers here, whether it was Gary Vee or Beanie or Otto Suin, they were talking about how innovative this game is and how it's a pioneer and how it's the first.
Oh,
Now,
this got some people riled up.
woo, a lot, because this is far from the first. It's the fifth or sixth at this point, and that was really a false narrative that we know is important in this game, because to be the first, or to be, the original that did something, affords you a very large premium in NFTs. And what's great, I think, about crypto people is they don't just listen to influencers, and within 24 hours, all these other games, some of which AlphaMint's pretty heavy in, from Ether Orcs to Evo Snails to even this morning CMY Cats, which is seeing quite the floor sweep itself. People are finding the original games now. Ether Orcs was the first on-chain RPG, and I think it has seen the most aggressive pump of them all, seeing almost 150 Ethereum flow into Orcs in the last.
Do you think this is a result of people that are priced out of Wolf Game seeking out other games to kind of get in and front run? Or do you think this is an actual, like, the idea that the historical plays really means something in the short term?
Definitely. I think, you see two routes now from people who missed Wolf Game. You're either going to buy what already existed, or there's about 10 derivatives on the dock now, from cat and mouse, dog and cat, whale game, shark game, wizard and dragon game. Basically every copy that you guys can come up with. And I'm sure some of them will be very successful. I think actually the big one yesterday, which you couldn't say was a copy because it basically launched simultaneously. Obviously, a lot of teams are working on these concepts, but Feudals, quite the pump there. I believe that was under 0.1, and it got up to 0.4. I haven't checked the floor this morning.
This world has been so insane that, like, there's been so many big wins and so many pumps, so many drops, so many things minting out that it's like, we were talking about it this morning and it was just like, where do we start?
Yeah, no, we could talk the whole show about this. Quite frankly, it's the new meta in NFTs right now, and understanding. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, no, really quickly before we start to kind of shift our train of thought here, to wrap up Wolf Game, which, I mean, isn't going to go anywhere anytime soon. They are now introducing their plots of land. Every Gen 0 owner, which is the first 10,000 minted in Wolf Game, can claim one free parcel of land. They are almost claimed out. There's like 50 left out of the 10,000. So people are obviously paying attention to this a lot. Nobody has put this aside and forgotten about it. But there's also a Dutch auction going on. So over the course of the day, it's going from 0.69420 ETH down to 0.1 ETH over the whole day. Right now, sitting at about 0.45. There's been 1,800 minted. So, if you think that there's a play here and you think that there's some longevity to this game, anything involved in this game at a 0.45 ETH buy-in might be a good purchase, but obviously, do your own research in that regard. But yeah, that is happening right now, and it is less than 20% minted out, and I have no doubt that that will be fully minted out in the next few hours as that Dutch auction continues to roll on. So keep an eye out for that. I can guarantee you that this is not the last that we talk about it. Either it blows up or explodes in front of our face, or just continues to truck along. There's gonna be a lot of discussion and nuance involved in that. So moving on from Wolf Game, you mentioned that there was some other projects that kind of got the secondary pump, Orcs is the recipient of that. I personally tend to believe that Orcs is probably going to be the one that has the most sustained run out of this. It's probably the best looking, maybe some debate, but the best managed one so far. And obviously AlphaMint is hugely in the Ether Orcs realm.
Yeah, AlphaMint has one of the largest hordes in the game. We pooled during the first phase, and it allowed us to really pull far ahead of other people who weren't kind of thinking the same way from the beginning and maybe had to adjust their strategies at least a day into the game. And those first minting phases are all time-based, so even losing a few minutes can hurt you. But yesterday, both Tropo Farmer and Fuckrender actually aped into Ether Orcs, and there are big announcements later today coming from the team. So, I mean, there's multiple reasons that this pump is happening. Currently, we're in the raiding phase of the game, and what that means is if your orc is of a certain level, you send it to go raid for bone shards. Bone shards are used to resurrect shamans, which will be the next character in the game. The main distinction so far is that orcs, Genesis orcs, all produce Zug. Zug is the in-game currency, sitting at about 80 cents last time I checked. Each base orc earns about 4 Zug a day, and once you level him up and do a little pillaging, they earn 16 Zug a day. And the shamans will not earn Zug, and this tends to be the differentiator between your Genesis collection and the subsequent characters you introduce into your world. So shamans will have abilities, though, that the orcs won't, which is very smart. They will be able to make potions, which will aid the orcs in the speed in which they can pillage. There are only there are only so many shamans available, so the faster you can raid, the more shamans you could make before they run out. So once you get your shamans, you want them producing potions so that your orcs can then raid them faster. So this is one of the games, given the whale interest, I think has legs. I thought it was pretty funny to see Beanie shitting on Tropo Farmer for his quote-unquote advertisement of Orcs when all Tropo Farmer did was say, he was like, this is the original game. There's a huge announcement tomorrow. Go check out Ether Orcs. Compared to what Beanie was doing for Wolf Game and has done for his projects in
the most innovative on-chain game that has ever existed.
Right. Beanie straight lies, and let's not mince words, right? Beanie's not an idiot. He knows everything going on in NFTs just like all of us do because we sit on Twitter and watch all day, right? He knew it wasn't, but he knew that that was the narrative that could really pour gasoline on the fire, and it worked. So,
yeah.
For him to go after Tropo Farmer for quite, all he was saying was there's an announcement coming and he likes these, I mean, come on, it was ridiculous. Now, I do think that over this next week, this is going to be the play. It's games that existed and the copycat games that are coming. Now, these derivative copycats, all of them are going to zero. Some may have a pump beforehand, but that is the dicier road, in my opinion. Go back and look at some of these good games. I mean, another interesting one today is Evo Snails, which does have an announcement coming later today. Here's a bit of a hint, which is kind of known by the snail community, but it will be snail racing. You will be able to race your snails to earn leaf, but quite the pump there. That was under 0.01 as of 2 days ago, and floor on common snails is sitting at 0.14 last I checked. So wow, what a pump there.
I should also highlight the fact that free market has a lot on the line as it's become an AlphaMint meme of a 1.2 ETH floor for snails. And I think that there would be nothing better in his life for it to actually hit that, and he can just wash away the hilarious jokes of the 1.2 ETH call that he made before the mint even happened. But I mean,
I really like the snails, and because of Orcs, I really loved the concept of games. I think, like I just said, it's the new meta. I was bulled up on snails. They launched into 300 gas and meme coins mooning every day. It was their downfall. Now that things have chilled a bit and people understand this is the new trend, they're rotating back into these type
Okay.
of things. And I'm hoping they offer something compelling today. But honestly, the trader in me, given that what they're going to announce is kind of known by the community, I expect them to pull back pretty hard after the announcement, just like wolves. As a trader, you got to understand everything that is known is sell the news. There are very few surprises in markets, and this shepherd thing that they were pushing all day, there were hints as to what it could be. It could, what could they have possibly said that could pump these sheep above 8 ETH? There's only so much money in the market. This didn't attract mainstream normies into NFTs. This was a pure degen NFT play. So when you have these big announcements coming up, it's almost always sell the news. So I would say that if you're holding snails right now, it's probably a better trade to sell before this announcement comes.
Saying that you're bulled up on snails makes it sound like you're like a meth addict or something. I don't know.
Okay, narcotic.
Yeah.
He's back, guys.
I make one joke about the weeds, and all of a sudden I'm a narc. Okay.
The weed. Okay.
The weed.
Moving on. Oh no, I just wanted to also mention CMY Cats, which you could probably speak a little more about because I haven't started playing it, but they're in a zombie phase, and this is another game.
I don't really want to, but
that seeing us tweet this morning.
No, actually, yeah, it was a pleasant surprise. This was a project that was seemingly dead, and it might still be on that track. Some people are calling it a bit of a false pump, whatever that means. But much to our chagrin, the devs don't actually take any royalties out of this, and it kills me every time a team does that because they could be making some money to continue the development of this project, and they're just not doing it. And that to me is frustrating. But yeah, I mean, this thing was no sales in 4 or 5 days and like very, very few sales in almost 2-3 weeks. And then it did run up to like a 0.1 floor. It's pulling back to 0.02. I think a lot of people have been frustrated by this product and have decided to unstake and list. The listings were going crazy. But yeah, as Free Market said, there is the second phase of the game that's going on right now. Now that gas has been a little bit cheaper and these cats are a little bit cheaper, it is not a very expensive play to be involved in, but I'm kind of watching it closely. I've got a couple of zombies that I've minted the graves and they are kind of digging away. They take 7 days to dig up. You can speed them up with the mice, which is the token that they use, and eventually after the first 1,000 graves are minted, now with some context, only 423 of them have been minted, and this has been live for the better part of 4 or 5 days. After the first 1,000 are minted, you do need zombies to dig the other ones up. So value will only come to this project if people start to kind of buy and participate in it. If not, I think that this is to compare it to the zombies might take a bit to come back from the dead. So some other things that I wanted to highlight, some big wins that we had. Chain Runners was one of the biggest ones. Wolf Game, for anyone that got involved in that, was a huge one. But on Friday, Cryptoon Goons minted. I did manage to get in on the mint on that. It did have a really good run up to 0.4 E a couple of times before pulling back. Right now sitting at I think just over 0.2, but there's been some huge volume on it. It has chilled out as people are kind of waiting for a roadmap and some kind of future utility if they have any at all. But I gotta say, trying to remain completely unbiased, but we talked about this. They do look pretty damn cool. They've got the old timey, almost Disney style. Lots of really cool traits on them, and that was a big win for anybody that got involved. I do think that there's probably a bit more of a future for them as they continue to make announcements. And then the other one that you were really bullish on, I was on the whitelist but didn't mint, was the Legend Maps. That one was very slow to start minting, and then in the middle of the night, or I guess very early in the morning, was it Zeneca?
Pranksy.
Pranksy. Oh yeah, Pranksy. Yeah, hopped into the Discord and started going crazy on the mints. They did mint out, and they sat for a little bit before having a pretty good run up this morning. Now sitting at a .2 floor. That's a little bit false too. Most of the volume is about 0.22 or higher. But yeah, this is still pre-reveal as well. So
Yeah, this was kind of interesting as the drama played out on the show over 2 days. I had really been looking forward to this project. I gave many reasons as to why I really like the art and the concept and the team, who has 20 years experience in the gaming industry. They had a huge whitelist, and they gave 5 mints to the first tier, 4 mints to the next, and 3 and 2, and so on. And they minted, I think, 600 during the whitelist.
It was
phase,
pretty soft,
it felt like, oh man, is this thing even gonna mint out? They opened the public phase the next day. We were watching it on the show. I think they sold another 1,000, and it wasn't until the next morning when, as R2DGen said, Pranksy aped in for 200 maps. It immediately minted out. I want to say about 15 minutes later. There was a quick pump to 0.12. Then they fell back to about 0.7, which was a little above mint. With gas, it cost everyone 0.055. The hot mint that day was actually the Toon Goons, which really rocketed from a 0.08 or a 0.07 mint up to 0.4. And it felt like Legend Maps were really, kind of not the play to have made. They continued to ramp over the weekend. They saw really good volume. And then this morning, when England got up and was really into it, they saw one hell of a bump. They got up to 0.4 at one point. There were quite a few selling between 0.35 and 0.4.
The legend maps?
What'd you say?
The legend maps?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, you kind of shifted from Cryptoons to legend maps again.
Oh, sorry.
No, all good.
Yeah. No, legend maps ended up getting up to 0.4 this morning at its peak, and now it's pulled back to 0.2. And these things tend to crash post-reveal. They should be revealing, I believe, at 10 a.m. I just forget whether it's Pacific or Eastern. And I'd expect them to maybe fall to 0.1 afterwards, as these things normally do. These are a long-term hold for me at this point. I sold a couple this morning. I have 3 left. And I will be holding these for a long time. I love this concept. I think they have legs. And I don't even know if the dump is going to be that aggressive after the deal. I think that...
Yeah, I'm not sure about that either.
Yeah, because think about that, right? Someone came in this morning and swept really hard pre-reveal. Like, it was a couple accounts that swept really hard pre-reveal. The thing got up to 0.4, and now it pulled back to 0.2. Was that already the pullback? Like, that was what my gut said. But at the same time, as a trader, you got to be disciplined. And, 99% of the time, these things fade post-reveal. So if you have your... if you have your 4... Yeah, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, it's interesting that this is happening right before the reveal. Obviously, you say, it has a pump, and then it has the reveal and a drop as people are kind of, seeing what kind of rarity they ended up getting. But this big run up and accumulation of pre-reveal maps and a pretty tight ownership supply. It's a 5,800 map drop and a 1,800-ish owners. I gotta wonder if there's some belief in the ecosystem that this is a long-term play as well, because it doesn't always kind of happen like that, right? Like, the dump is already kind of taking place as people are seeing the ability to take some pretty good gains beforehand. Obviously, people are buying that dump, and it does just feel like maybe it won't kind of empty out. Maybe it'll just trade sideways for a bit. But yeah, it remains to be seen. It'll be interesting to see what happens pretty soon.
And I'm really excited to see what their next announcement is, because they've been a little vague, and I do think they have a phase 2 ready, and I'm pumped about this game. I mean, like we said, games are it right now, and this one jives with a lot of existing projects, whether it's Loot, which has a 3E floor, or Orcs, which is close to a 1E floor again. So let's see how that reveal goes. I'm personally hoping for a rainbow map. I hear those are the rarest, and I'm pumped to see if I got one.
Yeah, I think it's going to be pretty cool. Kind of sad that I didn't mint, but, them's the punches, honestly. Okay, let's wrap the show portion up real quick. I just want to talk about kind of the upcoming drop of the day. Maybe not the best one, but probably the most high profile one is the Art Blocks Curated, which is happening today. It is called Autology, and pulling it up, there's some testaments that they've had, kind of getting like some stained glass Tim Burton vibes from it. Some of them look pretty cool. Some of them aren't really doing it for me. I don't ever take part in the Art Blocks Curated, as I don't like participating in Dutch auctions, but it will be interesting to see how Art Blocks Curated bounces back from the Asemica drop that they did last week. I'm gonna pull that up, and you had some pretty strong feelings towards it. Mine were mixed. I thought some of them were cool, and some of them were an absolute flop. But that felt more like a factory drop than a curated drop, and as such hasn't done super well. Normally you get some gigantic Art Blocks purchases post mint, and that one capped out at about 9, and I think that was by far the biggest purchase from Asemica. So yeah, Autology happening today at 1 p.m. Eastern.
I want to reiterate that I am wildly bullish on Art Blocks long term, and I only want to say that now because there's been so much generative art FUD over the last 2 weeks, which, don't get me wrong, you know, people that are stuck 80% right now are justified in being a little miffed. You know, can the devs do something? Well, no, there's no devs here. This isn't a PFP thing. But I really am bullish, especially on Art Blocks Curated. And I thought the last drop was trash. But I mean, you know, I'm in a collection personally, of which I have a few pieces called Apparitions, that I think a lot of that collection is trash. Like, I think that's a really interesting thing, is that but the pieces I own, I really love. Like, you know, with generative art, this happens a lot, where some of the pieces come out are so good that it makes the collection valid, but so many in that collection are just trash. I think Art Blocks is just going through the growing pains of adjusting their business model into the teeth of a bear, right? There was so much froth in their name. A lot of people say what they did was, you know, the reason, and that they were getting ahead of the market and all that stuff. I don't think Art Blocks cares. They made 100,000 ETH in secondary sales. They are a brand name within NFTs, and they know that long term this is going to be good for them, and they don't really care about the growing pains. So whatever's happening in generative art right now, I think it's transient, and I don't know about this drop in particular, but I do think Gen Art's going to bottom at some point here.
I don't think it holds up next to some of the other really good curated pieces, no. But hey, I mean, you know, when a couple of thousand of these get minted out, there's a pretty good chance that some of them look pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, yeah. On that note, we're gonna wrap up the content portion of the show and move into open mic. If anybody wants to jump up there, as always, just raise your hand and we will invite you up on stage and have a quick chat if it's anything that you want to talk about for. You know, upcoming drops, if there's something in the show that you thought was interesting, or you have any questions about anything you've been looking at, you want to come up here and just tell us we suck at doing a live podcast, whatever it is, man. We'll have you up here and have a quick chat. And also, yeah, like I you know, mentioned earlier in the show, it's amazing to see all of the new faces. Even just now, while we were talking, we had a couple of memberships come through. Centrex and Mac's somebody that I've seen a bunch in the general chat and has always kind of been on the fence about joining. But if you're listening right now, the Discord stages doesn't organize the names in alphabetical order. Yeah, you are here. Welcome to the MoonLounge, friend. And if you're in the MoonLounge right now, give him a warm welcome. Always great to see some new faces there.
Absolutely. It's Thanksgiving week here, and here
yes.
in America. I know Canada already had yours a couple weeks ago. Right?
We definitely front run the Thanksgiving celebrations every year. Yeah. But we drive the turkey prices up and we sell into the volume.
There would be a bit of a drought in mints, maybe during a holiday week, but it looks like it's going to be a crazy busy week. Swampverse finally announced a date for their mint. If you're not in Swampverse, those are those little pixel frogs that I think look pretty cool. They're going to be minting.
You're kind of cutting out there.
Oh, I was just
Oh, you're
saying
good.
that Swampverse is minting the day after Thanksgiving. And then Artifact, CloneX is minting the day after that, at least for the pre-sale. So it's going to be a busy week in NFTs, Thanksgiving or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Swamp First is definitely one that we're looking out for this week. I also had Cass just raise his hand. So we're going to bring him up on the stage, and I am really quickly just going to go grab a glass of water, and I will be right back. But if you want to say hi to Cass and get the ball rolling on that, I will
Don't you
join you
mean a
again.
glass of oil, R2D-Gen?
Yes. Oh, is that this is where we're going
Are you,
with the
yeah, are you
the
gonna put, are you
personality,
gonna, you
eh?
gotta do the bit?
I
Yeah.
think I'm going more for like the Bender from Futurama vibes, where it's like booze that you need to. But yeah, I guess not the same universe. So,
Good morning,
Cass, good
SoCal.
morning. I'm gonna be right back.
Good morning, people. How are you? You've given me my crack fix of the morning, had my coffee, enjoyed the show, and yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Yeah, we're glad we could provide that for you. Just
Yes.
don't tell the narcotic cop sitting next to me, Cobain. We're
I,
very happy you enjoyed the show.
I have noticed that, to be fair. Like, but I do
Well, he's
understand.
not here. He can't defend himself, so
Yeah,
let's keep.
yeah. He's going to get a glass of water. So, how you guys been? How have you been? How was your weekend? How was everything?
Pretty wonderful. I was, with the fam, and we were hanging out. Pretty easy time here in the city. It's getting pretty cold, and we're looking forward to the holidays now. We are going to start decorating and buying some birds to cook and all that good stuff. It's that time of year.
No. That's cool, man. That is cool. Quick question on a random. The orcs, ether orcs. Like, I've read up a few bits on it. The the,
Yep.
the holding seems great.
hmm
What do you see it in terms of gaming long term? Do you think it's really got legs to kind of go the long?
Well, the reason I think Orcs is special mainly is their historic angle, right? I've talked a lot about how I think traditional gaming companies getting into crypto is more bullish than crypto people getting into gaming.
100%.
But having played Orcs, it's fun. You got to be a little bit of a nerd as it is all on chain, though they did just make a really cool graphical user interface for people to use. Most of us were playing on the contract the whole time, which we loved as crypto nerds, but obviously as a hindrance to mass adoption. So why I think Ether Orcs is such a good place to stash your ETH is mainly because 2 years from now, 4 years from now, 10 years from now, when people look back, this game, whether it's being played or not, is going to be a piece of history. And in NFTs, we know that that gets a very large premium, regardless of what meta within NFTs it is. So that's one reason I'm so bullish on
Well,
Orcs.
even
But even
in
short,
traditional, markets, historic like early historic things get big play too, right? Like you look at
Mhm.
the original Super Mario games for Nintendo,
Right.
or Super Nintendo being unwrapped, or even just the unwrapped consoles, the ones that are in mint condition, they go for huge amounts. Shoes do that too. Like early pieces of history, regardless of whether they remain to have any utility, have a tremendous amounts of upside as well. So I mean, I can't agree more with you on that.
Yeah, these are going to be very desirable collectibles down the road. And if they can keep the game going, this idea of Zug generation over the next few years really has me excited, because one orc right now will make you a little over 5 grand a year, and it costs you a little under 5 grand to buy the orc. It was a better value at the beginning of yesterday because the orcs were like 2,000 bucks or even a little cheaper. But I had been saying for weeks, you know, that gap is going to close. These things are producing $5,000 a year and selling for $1,900. Who's not going to buy that, right?
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. But it's a year, all right. So, and obviously being a first, it would be, I do get the desirable side of it. No,
Right. You know, it's asset appreciation first. If the game and the Zug work out, that's just icing on the cake. Now, these other games, you're not as sure about the underlying asset, so you kind of want to get as much out of the game and underlying currency as much as possible before it pops. Tends to be my philosophy.
I think
And
the other reason that I'd be bullish on gaming, whether or not, you know, it's an existing project or upcoming, is just that, you know, gaming was one of those things that for a long time was shunned. You know, it wasn't actually too long ago that gamers were nerds in their parents' basements and stuff like that. And I see, you know, my son's generation, where everybody is a gamer, and it's not just guys are gamers. Like, I mean, like everybody, you know, girls, guys, and like, you know, in high school, it's the same thing. And gaming has quickly shot up to be, you know, one of the largest industries in the world. So, you know, I think that you can't ignore the power of gaming, the power of storytelling, the power of interactive entertainment. And it's gonna continue to grow from there. And there's a lot of people who just think that NFTs are the gateway to on-chain or you know, blockchain gaming, right? Like, and other NFTs aren't even going to be worth anything unless they're gaming related. I don't know if I would go completely that route, but you know, that is a thesis of some people. And yeah, like the video gaming industry has quietly gone from a bunch of nerds in their basement to one of the biggest revenue generating industries in the world. So yeah,
These are two huge mega trends that are colliding
yeah.
to create the ultimate Giga Chad trend that hopefully we're all at the beginning of and take advantage of.
that's cool.
Yeah.
Also, does rarity or yeah, does rarity play anything within the game?
So the first phase of the Orcs game was twofold. You could do two things. You could mint your orc. You could earn Zug to mint new orcs, or you could level up your orc to get loot, which made it rarer. Now, this loot also had utility because it would increase how much Zug your orc made, but this first phase was essentially rarity building, and at the end, rarities were set. So rare orcs do get a premium right now. I believe they will in the future, but it certainly means less than a collection that stands on the art alone. As you make utility the central aspect of your project, people start to afford it more and more of the value. Though I do think rarities will always get a premium, especially if these things become, you know, cultural phenomenons and historic.
Cool. That's actually really cool. And was it Legend Maps?
Yes, legendmaps.io, and it's legend maps on OpenSea. There's a couple fake collections, but the real collection has 5,600 items under it.
I got 5. I bought them at 0.06, I think.
Oh, great.
Good entry point, yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, great.
on the dip, that's when we bought about 5 of them. And it's basically long term again. Leave it in the side because in the long term, after diving in a little bit, yeah, everything seems really solid with that.
I know I'm nuts, but I already want to blow one up and put it on the wall. They have this really good. It feels like Zelda. If you guys played Zelda back in the day, it feels like that top-down RPG type of play. I don't know. It hits me in the nostalgia, so I'm looking forward to that reveal.
For me personally, I'm a bit older. I think it kind of reminds me. Even the art reminds me of something I used to play on a Commodore 64 or on a 500. Yeah, that's
you
what
just outed your age here, my friend.
It's
I know there's some people in the audience that are like, "The fuck?
What
the fuck is that?" Yeah, trust me, bro. But no, like, yeah, I don't mind. It just reminds me of that, and it's that nostalgia kind of thing, and I did really like the art. So yeah, for that one because yeah, I heard the info from you guys, and then yeah, it was a good look. So thank you.
Yeah, man, no problem.
I'll go off.
If
Cool, man. Thanks for coming up.
yeah, thanks, Cass. Always great to talk to you, and I hope you had a great weekend, and look forward to a great week ahead as well.
Trust me, guys. Take care. I'll speak to you soon.
If anyone else wants to throw their hand up and join us up on stage, by all means, I think we could probably go for another 15 minutes if you wanted. While we're kind of waiting for somebody to do that, I just wanted to quickly shout out a newer member of the community, Seb, who has been in live minting, dropping some pretty incredible quick pieces, just linking to the project, doing the whitelist time, the actual time, and the public mint time. He's highlighted Ben Baller. He put art blocks in there. Society of Derivative Apes Soda, which has been getting some play that we can really quickly look at too. I don't know if you've looked at that at all, but it's kind of like apes.
Amazing.
Yeah, they do actually. I'm gonna be watching this one. Let's pull that up on
they're
screen.
My favorite. Yeah, they're my favorite board ape, even including the original. This derivative. I gotta say, I love all the Doodles derivatives. The style is fabulous. Like, everything looks good in that style. I expect kaiju.
It really does.
And Mori oodles and bun noodles, and come on, give them all to us. These apes look dope, but specifically, these seem to have interest from whales and influencers. So there may even be a little gas war brewing. 5,000 went to the whitelist, and there's another 5 going to be available to the public. So that's a mint a lot of AlphaMinters are watching.
Yep. Looks like 6 p.m. Eastern tonight. The public sale mint begins for 0.04 ETH. So exciting for that. I might jump into that one after my seemingly big whiff this morning. I woke up and saw Pudgy Apes minting, and I definitely didn't follow my my normal rule of not minting before I've had a coffee.
That was such an easy pass for me, but
yeah, whatever. This is going to be a historic play, as you would say. No,
historically bad. No,
you win some, you lose some. Hey, it's not over yet.
Fud those bags. May they go much higher.
Yeah.
We got a question from Mecha Ape Trafficus. Bringing him up again. Great to have you up here. Good morning.
Oh, he's up.
Sir.
Good morning, GM.
Your mic is muted.
There he is.
No.
You're good.
Yes, sir.
Okay, cool. Love the show, guys. Obviously, thanks for doing this.
Thank you.
Like I said before, it's become part of my morning routine. So you guys, touched on the Wolf game stuff. We're seeing all these derivatives come up, and how are you guys going about vetting these? I think a lot of them are going to be rugs, to be honest with you. I'm really scared. Literally yesterday, I know you guys mentioned 10. I saw more than that come up. And I'm just really weary on the fact that a lot of these, people are going to lose a lot of money because they're just not going to succeed. So how would you recommend going about saying all right, this one is a solid project, this one I'm going to take a pass on?
Honestly, I typically try not to chase too much. To me, I missed out on the Wolf game hype. I feel like I've probably missed out on this cycle, to be honest with you. I'll watch the volumes of some. If some look exceptionally well done, there was some quality, and maybe it was a project that had already been in the works for a while and is just launching into some pretty good hype for them, then I might try and partake in it. But typically it's only that a second chance exists, and you don't know which one it's going to be. So unless you're comfortable with spreading out into a lot of them and taking a lot of losses, I wouldn't have super high hopes for any of them, honestly. I just, the worst plays that I've made has been chasing and FOMOing into a trend that I should have just understood is already over. I think free market's probably on the same page as me, but yeah, what's your take on that?
So this may sound simple, but Discord numbers are a good indication. if you see, like, there's a few projects that I went to go check their discords this morning. Mad Cow NFT, which seems to be one of those games, 530 members in the discord.
True,
I'm
yeah.
just kicking that out right now. Nothing's going on there. Now Cat and Mouse has 31,000 people in the discord. I feel like even if you set out to become a rug, once you get those type of numbers, you start to realize there's probably more money to be made in trying to do something, even if you fail. And there's a couple, and I'm not recommending these. I haven't made the whitelist in either, but I will try. The whale game and the cat and mouse game both seem to have insane interest. Like, there's so many people in those that if you can get on the whitelist, it seems like free money. Now, whether this is an ape, a copycat, whatever it is, you got to go into each of these individual projects. Now, one that was really good looking to me, and I don't know whether it's a rug or not. I haven't even been able to get into the general because they did the shitty strategy of invite game and whatever, is Wizards and Dragons. It's a game of Wizards and Dragons. It's called Wizards and Dragons game. The art looks incredible to me. It's the type of art that I like. There's 11,000 members in that Discord. So those were the three derivatives I was watching. Most of the other ones seem to be pretty low effort, but really I just watched the Discord interest. I know the numbers are probably pamped with robots and invite contests, but if you can get on a whitelist with a Discord that has over 30,000 members, it's almost always free. So those are the three that kind of stuck out to me of the derivatives.
That's a good point. I would say it's more of a red flag if there's almost nobody in the Discord than it is a green flag that there's a lot of people in the Discord. You know what I mean? Like, I would say there's some diminishing returns on the volume of there. But yeah, even jump in there, watch the chat, and see how active and how rabid the community base is, because that's probably a pretty good indication as well. Definitely take a look at the art. Like you said, if it looks like it's good, then the chances are that they've been working for this a little bit longer than just, the last 2 days since Wolf Game has come out. Yeah, and I mean, there's a myriad of red flags you can look for. And sorry, when I answered your question before, I didn't really answer what you were asking, but yeah, I agree with Free Market that look at the socials, look how long it's been around for as well. There's always some projects that have been working on this silently for a couple of months. They're getting ready to launch, and it's just either fortuitous or unfortunate timing that you're launching into this kind of hype from another project.
Yeah, and you want to get in and out of these. When it's an obvious derivative of something that was hot, you're obviously not trying to figure out which one of these is here for the long term. It's just you want to get in and get out. Try to get on a whitelist. It's probably good for a pump.
Yeah, because I got on Cat and Mouse. Like, I was inside like the first 500 or whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm just so weary about this because I know that there's going to be so many people who are going to get rugged with all these derivatives, and it just doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, it is a gamble.
It is, but all these people are doing it because they're trying to get rich. They're not out here like, I'm gonna put this in my savings account so I can. They're out here gambling on vapor to try to get rich. So whatever happens. Trying to distinguish. I really get the feeling that the ones we mentioned aren't straight rugs, but that still doesn't guarantee it's not going to tank. It's all, we'll see.
Cool. And then I got one more for you.
Sure.
Zen Apes came out this morning, late last night, and said that they're about to, they're partnering up with CyberKongs.
Nice.
I'm not sure if you guys saw that. Is that are you I was already kind of bullish on the project. Is this through the roof now, or am I crazy?
So there's two sides of it, right? This project is being run by OX Inurashi, which is a very prominent member of the mice community. He wasn't an original dev, but he has done work for them. This gives that instant credit, and I'm sure all the mice are in it. And then Eddie Kongs is also involved with this project. So that's why I assume CyberKongs and Zen Apes have created a partnership. I absolutely love this project. I've been trying to get on the whitelist. I have not achieved it yet. I love the art, which is why I tried to get on. I mean, the Kong stuff is only good for them. This is probably going to be an insane gas war. I know that a lot of people want in this project. Looks fucking solid. I mean, it's just, looks like a good project. So
Yeah, it is nice.
if you
Nice,
can get in
clean
that
art,
one-
too.
Oh, yeah. Super clean. Yeah.
I got lucky the other day. I jumped in there. They were doing a trivia contest, and I got a whitelist like
Congrats.
within like
yeah.
2 minutes. I was like, "Holy crap!" So
Yeah, that
Big win.
looks like a good one, man.
Big win.
Yeah, very
Cool.
good.
cool. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you
of course.
coming up. Always
Mhm.
good to have you up here. Do we have any other hands up right now? Doesn't look like it. Oh yeah, or one of our resident artists, Josh, a regular guest on the show at this point, invited up. Yep.
Hey, morning, fellas. How's it going?
GM.
Good morning, sir.
Oh, GM. Fine Monday.
Let me ask you a quick opinion, real quickly. Free market is having a bit of a debate with me as to what GM actually stands for. I think most normal, sane people have already established that it is lowercase g, lowercase m, and I think we're all on the same page about that, save for a few rebels. But now the debate has switched to what it actually stands for. It's obviously good morning, or free market would have it as good morrow.
Good morrow. Now think about how classy and cool this sounds, right? I mean, when did we start saying good morning? I don't know, but good morrow is, I think it's cooler.
Ever the historian. Josh, do you want to weigh in on this for us?
Yeah. I don't know, man. I think good morrow is cool in the way that, somebody wearing a fedora saying "milady."
God damn it. All right, I'm leaving. I reject this.
Good news. We already have AlphaMint branded fedoras on the way to Free Market's place as we speak, so he can tip his cap to people as he badgers them in the weed clubs about OpenSea.
Man, sign me up for the AM fedora.
Drip is already on it, I am sure. So, anyways, yeah. Enough about that. What's going on today?
Oh, not too much. I just yesterday was thinking a little bit about shipping physical goods as part of an NFT. I did a little survey a while ago on my Twitter and found that I only got 12 respondents or so, but none of them had ever received anything physical related to their NFTs. So I wrote up a little thread on the learning process of shipping things out to holders and how it's more difficult than I'd assumed it would be. The logistics of it are quite a bit more difficult, but it's totally possible for most projects and seems like a missed opportunity for a lot of projects. But to me, the big issue is pseudonymity with shipping things to people. You kind of
100%.
give up your holder's pseudonymity the moment you have to mail them something to a physical address. So I just wanted to get your guys' thoughts on that and see what you guys think.
I think
So
that there's. Oh yeah, you first. You first. Go.
Well, I have a couple thoughts on it. So I think that what makes an NFT unique and valuable is that it can't be destroyed for the most part, right? It can never lose its quality. It is always mint, even after it's been minted and held for a very long time. When you attach, and this was an issue for a pretty famous NFT artist, which was Ringers, when you attach a physical piece to the NFT, especially if you write it in the description or make it part of the sale, now you have something that, where is the value in this NFT? If the value is also in this physical item, well, then you have to trust the person who owned it to keep the physical item as mint as the NFT. Or does that mean values should be subtracted? I think physical items for NFTs are great as long as it's not framed as part of the art or part of the sale. And I, like, as an example, he was automatically sending prints with his work early on. Now I believe it's an option, and anybody who buys the NFT can get the print. So if you rebuy the NFT, you contact Dimitri, he'll send you a print, right? And that is, I think, a much better way to frame it. So while I'm not against the overall act of doing it, I think how you frame it is important to the value of your NFT.
Interesting. It reminds me a bit of the Damien Hirst project, where it was like you either can receive the physical print and burn the NFT, or receive the NFT and burn the physical print. And I think you hit on exactly why that dynamic is interesting. That's super cool.
Right.
Yeah, I think that you'll probably see some services set up, if they're not already, as like almost an intermediary. Like obviously you can set up a PO box and get it shipped there, but like even still, you're kind of getting in the realm of where that person is. But I think that some secure third party that kind of just facilitates the swap, even though you don't have to send it to them there. I don't know. Like I'm picturing some kind of like hidden encrypted QR code that only like certain like maybe mail receivers can scan and get it out to the right one, so that you can print it off and slap it on a box and you have no way of seeing it, but somebody during the shipping process can redirect it to the right place. So I don't know, maybe that exists. That'd be pretty cool to know.
And I think that's
Go for it.
I think that's the obvious hindrance right now too, is the friction involved. OpenSea doesn't give you an easy way to include a physical item, and until there is a smooth way to do it, and I would assume you would want it to be built into the marketplace so that you don't have to go out to a third-party app, at least for convenience. Until that happens too, I think that's one reason you haven't seen a ton of it, from so much friction and being able. Photographers, I think that's one area where it seems like such an obvious value add that you want to have a print of the photos you buy on your wall. And I was able to buy a photo NFT from our good friend Ben Orloff, who did send me a physical print. But it was easy because we know each other. He was routing people to his website. So I think that as an artist or as a business, that's your best option right now, is to have a website where the extra that's attached to your NFT is some sort of link that routes you with an easy way for a customer to fill out their info securely and privately, as possible.
Interesting. Yeah, I love it. I think there's probably an opportunity there for somebody to maybe build out a delivery or inventory management system or something for folks in the NFT space.
Agreed.
Opportunities abound, not just in the minting. All right, I'm gonna invite Will up onto stage, and we'll probably cap it off there. So I'm gonna invite him up, and while he is on his way up, I just want to mention. Oh God, I can't even find the button. Or did you already do it?
Yeah, I invited him up.
Oh, you did? Okay. While he is on his way up there, I just wanted to let everybody know that we are in the process of working with Vishal to create an NFT drop and whitelist calendar that's got some details fleshed out on it. I'll probably show it on stream tomorrow, and probably try and debut and figure out a good way to get it out to you all in the form of a Google Doc. But in the meantime, if anybody wants to drop something in either the AM show chat or the feedback and questions Discord channel that we have going on there, as to like what metrics you think would be important for us to keep track of. Obviously, we've got like the date, the pre-sale amount, the total amount, the mint price, and we'll try and keep that up to date as much as possible. But if anybody has any interesting metrics that they like to look at and want to help us kind of crowdsource a really good mint drop calendar, let us know. And we're going to be trying to build that out as quickly as possible, especially as minting kind of enters the meta again pretty strongly, and whitelists are obviously a key part of that. So look forward to that tomorrow, and if you have any suggestions, please let me know, and we will work on that as well. So Will, what's going on this morning?
Hey, good morning, gents. And
Good morning, Will.
capital GM is General Motors, and lowercase GM is Guten Morgen.
Well said.
I actually be interested to see if like General Motors got a little bit of a pump out of that whole thing.
You know they're gonna play up that meme one day. I don't know if it's this year or next year, but it's gonna be in a car commercial in the Super Bowl. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Sorry to cut you off,
So,
Will.
um, no worries. Thanks for having me up. So my question is around whitelist, and as I'm going through the learning curve, I think that when people hit this concept of whitelist, it gets complicated because there seem to be a lot of different ways to get on the whitelist, and for sake of time, I guess I'll frame my question here as sort of an etiquette question. In that, when I first came on Discord, I was getting all kinds of stuff, and I finally reached out to the person and said, why are you inviting me to all these Discord servers that I don't care anything about? It's like, well, I need to get on the whitelist. I need to get on the whitelist, right?
Yeah.
So, I guess I don't want to be, spamming all of AlphaMint with things that they don't care about. And the second thing is maybe they want to get on that whitelist too.
So,
That's why AlphaMint is here. That's why we have an invite spam channel, and you'll often see, we are very against invite contests in general. They're a lot less prevalent now than they used to be, but you still see some projects doing it. It's always disappointed when it's a project you like. Swampverse, I really love that project, but that is how they built up initially. But we know that that's the case. And AlphaMint is about streamlining signal and reducing noise. So when someone posts an invite link in the invite spam, especially one tied to invites to get on a whitelist, often they'll say, hey guys, I need 3 more, and then I'll take mine down so somebody else can put theirs up. So in AlphaMint, we know the game. We're here. We're trying to maximize EV, right? So it's fine to do it here. Now, it's always touchier to do it with your friends in the DM. Especially sophisticated people know exactly what's going on. As Cobain and I joke, "Oh, am I your invite bitch this morning?" Because
I am always the recipient of waking up to 1 or 2 Discords DM'd to me from Free Market.
Yeah. Oh, really? 1999? What was the thing I got the other day? The 1/1/2022? I don't even know what it is. I joined it for you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Our ratio is like 10 to 1 right now, so
we are against invite contests in general. We look down upon them, but it's
for
part
this
of the
exact
game
reason.
Yeah, exactly. And it's part of the game currently. We work it in AlphaMint. There's a bit of a process. Like we say, we try to encourage, if it's for an invite contest, once you get your invites, take it down and suggest somebody else puts it up in AlphaMint. But yeah, part of the game we don't love right now.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, this was actually specifically for Rat DAO, which I'm really excited. I love the
Yeah.
art.
Yeah,
But
cool
it was like, oh yeah, we'll let you on the whitelist if you get 4 other people in. I'm like, oh, okay, well, now, there's an etiquette issue. So, okay, appreciate it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely.
use
Morning,
that.
Scott.
Use the invite spam and use the other one that we referred to. Oh my god, I lost it. Pre-sales and
latest
whitelist. Yeah, yeah.
And then latest drops is in the general area as well, right? That's
Yeah.
where we do it for general, is in latest drops.
Unless it's something that's happening quickly, like a mint or something, please don't flood the DGen Dojo or the general chat with these whitelist contest discords.
Yeah, we have channels for that.
Did I hear Scott jumped up on stage with us?
Good morning, Sigma. Sigma Red? Is that what we should say?
Ooh, too many hints here.
Too many. Oh, please. Good morning, Scott.
Good morning. Hey, I just wanted to, as Wolfgame dominates the conversation, I wanted to quickly recognize Dirty Milk, have you guys looked at Chain Runners?
Yeah, we talked about it earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, we shouted him out earlier in the show. Wow. 1.69?
2 ETH floor now.
Oh my
Get
god.
the hell out of here.
I thought about buying one of those yesterday at like 0.3, 0.4, and I did that stupid thing stupid thing where I'm just like, how much higher could this possibly go? And I do try and like discipline myself and not try and chase and FOMO. So obviously this is a conversation that we're having in hindsight. And if it had gone down to 0.2, I would have been like, oh, thank God. But like, yeah, NFTs are pretty ridiculous in the fact that these runs just can sustain for a long time.
No, and it's just amazing. I went back and looked at his call. It was 2 weeks ago where he shared the direction. They were 0.05 mint. And I mean, what is that? That's 100x.
We're getting there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they fell to 0.01. So that's 160x if you bought the bottom because they were out there for like a week. No one cared.
I really want to know what triggers this. Like, what's the event? It's a 10K supply. It minted. It crossed past that kind of like death zone where it becomes too expensive in gas to buy these things, where you're already down 50 or 75% just on your purchase price, and then it just fucking takes off. Maybe low gas is being really beneficial right now.
He shared his thesis too, which was that he was tracking wallets and he saw that someone who was scooping up rares when they were down at 0.01 had 13 punks in his wallet. Ooh. And then he saw some other punks holders were buying them when they were down at 0.01.
Interesting. Wow. Great call. I hope that Dirty Milk loaded up, and I hope that some other people listen to and absorb all of the alpha. Obviously, it's very hard to act on all of it, and liquidity is always a concern too, right? Like if you act on every single thing you see, you can chew through a lot of ETH real quickly. But yeah, punks loading up on something is never a bad sign for a project, especially when it is that low.
The last thing that happened to Bad Bunnies before the bear market was some punk swept like 50 of them off the floor. So
yeah, so huge shout out to Dirty Milk.
Well done,
not
sir.
Just a talented barber.
No, multifaceted.
So, Scott, what are you looking at today? Anything going on before we wrap it up?
Did you guys talk about the Ben Baller thing?
Oh, that's a good one. Because there's at least 10 of us on that whitelist thanks to Orcs. Do you know if it's a game, Scott? I was trying to figure out if it's in this game trend or not.
I know literally almost nothing about it. I was talking about it last night in voice chat with Vincenzo, and I mean, it's pretty rushed, isn't it? This has been around for what, like a week?
Yeah, and there is an in-game currency. Let me just read this infographic real quick. Minting blockchain. So if you guys don't know, Ben the Baller is a jeweler. So when he says blockchains, he implies chains you wear around your neck. So you will be minting a blockchain that will show up on OpenSea. These blockchains will mine baller bars, gold bars, gems, baller bars, okay? So you will hold blockchains to earn baller bars, which can be used to mint further blockchains. Collecting gems. Once all the blockchains are minted, you will use baller bars to then mint gems, which I assume you can insert into your chains maybe to make them rarer or more valuable. And then the race. Merge 10 gems together to create a baller chain. The value of a rare baller chain expands far beyond the metaverse. Now think about this, guys. Think about this. This is one of the largest jewelers in hip-hop. This has celebrity support, and the last line of their roadmap implies if you get a very rare chain, you may be able to forge it for a physical in the real world. So will that appeal to people? This is a concept here, and a bunch of us are on that whitelist. Whitelist is from 2 to 7 p.m. Today, I believe. And the public mint starts at 9:30 p.m. All times are approximate. We will keep the DGen Dojo abreast of the move on the Ben Baller blockchain.
And for anybody that's not, you kind of outlined who Ben Baller is. 1.5 million followers on Instagram, which for Instagram is a pretty big deal, and deeply ingrained in the kind of hip hop culture as well. So definitely not a small name. Might not be one that you're entirely familiar with if you're kind of not in that world, but also a fellow Lakers fan, so I have nothing against them.
Let's go Knicks.
Yeah. All right. I guess
Yesterday, hell of a game yesterday. Randall just putting on a clinic. Woo! Lord have mercy.
Also a former Laker that I'm not salty about leaving at all. Okay.
When LeBron. New York Knicks.
Yeah.
And then the one other quick one, did you guys talk about Society of Derivative Apes soda?
Yeah, love that art. That may be a gas war, right? I mean, there's 5,000 available for the public, 5,000 going in the pre-sale, and that has whale interest all around. Zeneca, Otto, it's gonna be a big one. It looks like.
Yeah, sitting at
about that one. It turns
almost
out,
0.1 floor. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Scott.
Oh yeah, Poison, who's in AlphaMint, is a mod over in their Discord, so he was talking about the project last night too. But I like the art. I'm curious to see what happens with the mint.
I as well. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that one. To the we were saying, man, everything looks good in a doodle style. That's just a good style, man. It resonates.
Couldn't agree more. All right, I guess on that note, Scott, if you want to finish off with anything, big day for AlphaMint yesterday.
Yeah, I can't believe I was just reading Henry's recap too. I mean, my only thing to finish off is I can't believe how much happened last week. NFTs are crazy.
NFTs are back. We see you in business. The show's ending, so maybe we'll hop in a voice chat after if you want to.
Oh, he's like spamming raise hand. All right, I'll get you up here for like. He's like that kid in the class that's like me. All right, real quickly, we got a couple more minutes. We'll extend this to.
Persistence is
I just want to see if that would work.
It did. It did. Is this how you get on whitelists as well?
That's how you get on whitelists.
Was that your intern clicking, or was that?
Yeah. that was it. Scott covered the other ones. I just, from a general vibe, I had to take a break this weekend. And it sucks because I feel like I missed so much. But I'm going to default to minting pretty hard this week with how much momentum everything has. It's just
yeah, because you just need one or two to work, right? Even if the other 8 fail, for real.
Yeah.
Well, for projects that are minting out too, there does seem to be a pretty good sustained post mint flipping opportunity. Yeah. Obviously, that's not like hard and fast rule. It does have to mint out. As I alluded to earlier, I did mint this silly pudgy apes or whatever, which is not getting any kind of traction despite Shamdu jumping in and posting about it. But you win some, you lose some. But yeah, I do think that there's a good opportunity to mint and peel back some of your minting liquidity back into your wallet and then hold and see what happens with projects.
It is really interesting to see the trend. I don't know if you guys talked about it with guys like Otto that are going back, a couple weeks or a month and, giving new life to projects that were solid and just didn't get their fair shake, right? I mean, like what happened with Orcs yesterday was something really unique. Like nothing, it wasn't an announcement or anything like that really caused that, right? It was just, there was a pause in the Wolf game, and all of a sudden, people were like, let me go check and see. It was Tropoformer that kind of set it off, right?
Well, I did tweet about 30 minutes before him, but I guess we could
correct. It's truly, it is you that really set that storm, ablaze.
Free Market tweets like 300 times a day about any project he's interested in. Eventually, no, no, I'm kidding. Great Twitter follow, actually. I do enjoy always seeing your posts pop up.
But it is one of those things, when somebody posts about a project that legitimately, sometimes somebody posts something and you go look at it and it's like, I don't see it, you know what I mean? But like, I think anybody that actually sees Orcs, and realizes, okay, wait, check first real RPG on chain, and then you see like any of the maps, like the actual like game theory maps of like where they already are in that process. It's just kind of like, hey, and then you tie that with the price, be like, wait, it just like, wait, why? Every time I'm like, why is this so cheap? I should just buy it usually if it passes the rest of due diligence, because that's kind of how I felt like I think it was Dirty Milk. We were messing around with their mint function. The one thing Chain Runners did really well, and probably the reason why the mice were really, really on it, is because they had a really awesome mint experience. Yeah. So you went into that, and they had like this whole, like old computer thing, and you could, type some code in there if you wanted and see what other ones had minted. But I was like, this is it. This is like, there's no game after this or anything like that. And I kind of had that gut feeling. I was like, I feel like this is going to be like, somebody's going to be interested in this, and then just didn't go. But I probably would have flipped it for, a dud, because there was no action after the mint anyways. So maybe the market's changing again, and you have to just kind of look at this as there's a possibility that a great project may just take a little bit, but it's nice to see that those quality projects are sometimes catching on here weeks after they minted, versus it being like straight to the moon like Doodles or or nothing.
I think it's encouraging for the market. Sorry, free market. I think it's encouraging for the market that it isn't like a hard and fast rule that it either survives and goes to the moon or dies. That some of these are getting picked up off the floor, and some of the either quality art or quality teams that are doing stuff are out there still getting recognized and coming back from the dead. I would be a little bit concerned about the longevity of like a bull market, or I don't want to say NFTs, but if it was just like mint, pump, and then it either kind of catches a good floor and stays somewhere in that range for a while, or like straight to zero, right? Like it can't be that binary. It shouldn't be that binary, right? Like we should have these like tiers of projects, and it's nice to see that there is some gray area.
Were any of the mints yesterday stalled mints? Like Crypto Goons was an example of like a stalled mint that just caught fire later, right?
It had a long whitelist process too.
Did it? Okay.
Yeah, it was a little bit different in that, but yeah, it did kind of catch on real quick and then started moving fast. I can't remember who started aping into it, but yeah, you are correct. It wasn't like launch the contract and then mint out.
That was very unique this week. Like the Dopey Ducklings happened last week, right? And that was like a dead launch.
0.4? Did you see that?
The what?
Were they up to 0.4, those things?
This morning? I sure hope so.
Dopey Ducklings. I thought they were a 0.4 last time I looked last night.
I am actually gonna touch on one thing, and then just wrap this up. We are starting to get a little bit long. But I appreciate you coming up on stage with us in business, and we'll jump into the voice chat after if you want to keep the conversation going. But the one thing that I've kind of wondered about is that it used to be that some projects would pay some influencers, like God forbid it was Fleur, but some other ones to kind of tweet about it, a whitelist happening or a drop happening, and kind of build up some momentum on the actual minting phase. I wouldn't be surprised to know that now the meta has shifted for influencers to actually just be paid to actually go out and mint them, and then somehow in the back end getting reimbursed some of the mint costs. This isn't like a conspiracy kind of thing. It seems like a more organic promotion mechanism. Shamdu tweeting about something isn't quite as powerful as seeing the whale watching bots light up with his wallet aping into a project, right? So for some of these stalled projects that don't seem to be picking up steam, and then all of a sudden somebody kind of stumbles in and starts going nuts on them, Pranksy, I don't know if Pranksy would really be somebody who would need the money to do so, but yeah, definitely more of an organic marketing mechanism that I think you'll see become a little bit more common. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that, free market.
I do. I agree with it all. Well said.
Yes. Okay. And anything you want to finish off with today?
No. Good luck at the tables, D-Gens.
Yeah, long show, great show today. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We had almost 50 again at its peak. Always appreciate that. Again, for anyone joining us late, we do record all of this on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, so go check that out if you missed anything or you can't tune in another day. And really, really exciting time for AlphaMint as we start selling more of these passes and getting more really, really great community members involved in our little project here. So lots to come. Some more announcements are on the horizon regarding AlphaMint. And yeah, as Free Market said, good luck at the tables, and we'll see you again tomorrow.